What's up, sensational seekers and true crime aficionados? Welcome back to your favorite deep dive into the most captivating and often chilling stories that grab headlines and leave us with endless questions. Today, we're plunging into a case that has gripped the nation, a brutal quadruple murder that shattered a small college town and left investigators, victims' families, and the public reeling. We're talking, of course, about the University of Idaho murders, a crime so audacious and seemingly senseless that it defied easy explanation. But now, a new book promises to pull back the curtain, not just on the timeline of that horrifying night, but on the elusive question that has haunted everyone. What was Bryan Kohberger's motive? What drove this criminology PhD student to allegedly commit such unspeakable acts? Get ready, because the insights from this new investigation are poised to shed light on one of the most perplexing aspects of this tragic case. The book in question is titled The Idaho Four, An American Tragedy. And it's the result of a powerful collaboration between best-selling author James Patterson, a name synonymous with gripping thrillers, and acclaimed investigative reporter Vicky Ward. Released this past Monday, this isn't just another retelling of the facts. Patterson and Ward set out with a clear and profoundly important goal: to offer a sense of closure to those who have followed this story, especially the deeply affected families. For people who have followed this story, we wanted to give them closure, Patterson told ABC News. And in the world of true crime, where so many questions often remain unanswered, the promise of closure is a powerful one. As you'll recall, horrific events unfolded in the early hours of November 13, 2022, in Moscow, Idaho. Four bright, promising college students, roommates Maddie Mogen, Kaylee and Xana, along with Kernodle's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, were brutally stabbed to death in the girls' off-campus house. The sheer audacity and violence of the crime sent shockwaves not only through the tight-knit community of Moscow, but reverberated across the entire nation, captivating attention and sparking widespread fear and speculation. The search for a suspect was intense, spanning weeks of agonizing uncertainty. Then, nearly 7 weeks after the murders, came the breakthrough. Bryan Kohberger was arrested. At the time of the killings, Kohberger was a criminology PhD student at nearby Washington State University. The irony of a criminology student allegedly committing such a high-profile, heinous crime was not lost on anyone, and it only added to the chilling mystery. For over 2 years, Kohberger maintained his innocence, fueling further speculation and a drawn-out legal process. But just recently, on State in 2024, in a dramatic turn of events, Kohberger admitted to the quadruple killings in court and pleaded guilty to all counts. This admission, after so long, was a crucial step towards providing some semblance of justice and hopefully healing for the victims' families. He is now set to be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences for the 4 first-degree murder counts, along with the maximum penalty of 10 years for the burglary count, with the sentencing hearing scheduled for the next week, July 23rd, 2024. The families are preparing for another intensely emotional moment, hoping for finality and a formal acknowledgement of the immense loss they have endured. But let's circle back to the book, The Idaho Four. What sets it apart is its unique access and its bold attempt to answer the why. Patterson and Ward didn't just rehash public records. They conducted an astonishing over 300 interviews with people intimately connected to the case. These included friends and family members of the victims, individuals who possessed invaluable insights into the lives that were so cruelly cut short. And it's from these interviews that a potential motive, one that has been speculated about but now gains significant traction, emerges. According to Vicky Ward, there was a strong consensus that it was Maddie that Kohberger was going for. Maddie Mogen, one of the 4 victims, is believed by those closest to the case, and even the victims' families to have been the primary target. And the victims' families, I think, would all agree with that, Ward confirmed. this is a crucial piece of information as it shifts the narrative from a seemingly random act of violence to something more focused, more personal, even if the personal connection was entirely one-sided and disturbing. So if Maddie was the target, what was the nature of Kohberger's alleged obsession or motive? The book delves into what one of the victim's friends, Emily Allen, described as a recurring nightmare she had after the murders. In this nightmare, Allen imagined a scenario where the admitted killer, Bryan Kohberger, had gone to the restaurant where Maddie Mogen worked. In this imagined encounter, he expressed romantic interest in her, but was rejected. The nightmare then suggests this rejection prompted him to retaliate in the most horrific way imaginable. Now, it's important to clarify that this is a dream or an imagination from a friend, not a confirmed fact. As Ward explained, when Maddie and her friends were shown Kohberger's photo after his arrest, they didn't recognize him. They can't put it together, Ward said. It was this lack of recognition that led Emily and her boyfriend, Hunter Johnson, to formulate the only explanation they could conceive of, the story of Emily's dream. That's when Emily said the only explanation that she and her boyfriend, Hunter Johnson, could come up with is the story that we tell, as the story of her dream that Bryan Kohberger targeted Maddie, and that she doesn't know the exact details, but that's her best guess. This suggests a desperate attempt by those closest to the victims to make sense of the senseless, to find a narrative that explains the inexplicable horror. If this nightmare-turned theory holds any truth, it paints a chilling picture of an unrequited, possibly obsessive interest turning into a monstrous act of revenge. Further supporting the idea of Maddie as the initial target, prosecutors have stated that Mogen was the first of the four killed. And critically, a knife sheath with Kohberger's DNA was found under her body, a piece of evidence that proved to be monumental in linking him directly to the crime scene. This forensic detail strongly suggests a direct engagement with Maddie, aligning with the theory of her being the intended victim. The book also meticulously reconstructs Kohberger's life leading up to the killings, examining his background as a criminology PhD student. Patterson noted the unsettling irony of Kohberger's academic pursuits. Kohberger, the criminologist, had such training for this, and he almost committed the perfect crime, Patterson observed. Had he not left the knife sheath, he probably wouldn't have got caught. This statement underscores the chilling precision and planning that seemingly went into the murders, a plan almost flawless were it not for that single crucial piece of evidence left behind. It raises the terrifying question of whether his academic knowledge was twisted into a tool for committing rather than solving crime. Amidst the chaos and terror after the murders, as police scrambled for clues, one of the most critical pieces of information came from one of the surviving roommates, Dylan. Her testimony, shared with friends like Emily Allen, provided vital details about what she witnessed that horrific night. It was really through Emily that we learned of what sort of roommate Dylan had gone through, Ward revealed. Dylan's description of the perpetrator was surreal and deeply unsettling. She recounted seeing a man with a big black mask, who looked like he was carrying a black vacuum. Amid the sheer terror and confusion of that moment, trying to process such a bizarre and terrifying sight in the middle of the night. Her friends, hearing this account, were equally baffled. And they're sitting there thinking, who could this be? And what on earth has happened? That image of a figure in a mask carrying what looked like a vacuum adds another layer of haunting strangeness to an already incomprehensible crime. As we approach next week's sentencing, the families of Ethan, Kaylee, Maddie, and Xana are preparing for the culmination of a long, painful legal battle. But the book, the Idaho Four, aims to do more than just recount the crime. It strives to honor the lives that were so violently taken. You will meet Ethan and Kaylee and Maddie and Xana, Patterson promised. You will meet them and you will feel them as human beings. This is perhaps the most crucial aspect of the book. To humanize the victims, to ensure they are remembered not just as statistics in a grim crime story, but as vibrant individuals, with hopes, dreams, and futures that were cruelly stolen. Stacy Chapin, Ethan's mother, conveyed her heartfelt appreciation for this very aspect of the book. I spoke to Stacy Chapin, Ethan's mom. And she did say, which was wonderful to hear, that she's so glad that this book exists because it means that they're not forgotten, Ward shared. It is a tribute to them and their lives. In the face of such overwhelming loss for a family, to feel their loved ones are remembered, truly seen, and that their stories are told with respect and care is an invaluable gift. This book therefore serves not only as an investigation into a horrifying crime, but also as a profound memorial, ensuring that the legacy of the Idaho Four endures, not just as victims, but as beloved individuals who lived and loved. And that true crime aficionados brings us to the close of another incredibly intense and profoundly moving deep dive. The University of Idaho murders left an indelible scar on a community and on the national consciousness. This new book, with its insights into Bryan Kohberger's potential, motive, and his dedication to honoring the victims, offers a vital step towards understanding and perhaps finding some measure of peace. What are your thoughts on the proposed motive? Do you believe this book will offer the closure so many are seeking? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for tuning in and joining us as we navigate the complex, often heartbreaking landscape of true crime. Until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember the victims whose lives were cut short.